Hey everyone. This first assignment we are incredibly excited to do with you because it is all about basic mapping and knowing how to label a map and read a map appropriately better gives you an opportunity to understand how it can be used as a tool when learning about social studies. So this map is going to challenge you to know the various things that every map has to have, as well as the difference between a continent, a country, and physical features as well. The tools that you're going to have, and this right here is what you are going to be doing your work on and turning in for a grade. But to find what you are labeling on this map, you are going to use this assignment sheet right here that has an entire checklist filled of different things you're going to do. Please make sure that you read each direction and each step carefully. For instance, this first step, labeling your totals in the red boxes. So totals is an acronym for title, orientation, date, author, legend, and scale. If you look on the map that you are going to be labeling, you will see these red boxes. And that's where you are going to be doing your labeling. Please keep in mind that each step has different colors, and there's also specific things that you will need to do. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to label this because I understand that this is a lot. So I'm going to get into that in just a second. I want to point out the resources that you have available. On the actual assignment sheet, if you click up in the header where this part is, you can see this linked in, and so this is one source that you can possibly use. Another source that has been uploaded to Google Classroom is this physical map of the world. This is going to have your continents labeled. This is going to have a lot of your major bodies of water labeled, as well as your mountain ranges and the Sahara Desert. So this is the map that you will use. And this map right here that I showed you just a second ago, this could also help you as well. I want you guys to pay attention to the font and how things are written. Those of you that know your continents already, what do you notice about the font of the continents? Think about that. Your teacher will tell you the answer if you don't know, so you need to reach out to your teacher. The other thing that has been uploaded is the political map. Political maps are really good for seeing boundaries and borders, specifically on this one of countries. There's also major cities that are labeled. And then for the political map in these sources, the rivers are actually a little bit more stand out than on this map. So I'm going to help you guys with labeling a couple of ones that might be difficult to find as well. So let me show you how you're going to do this. For the title, I think it's simply good enough to just simply write map of the world or world map. Okay, so that would go right here where it says title. So I'm going to put it into screen view. And so if you look up here, you can see title. If at any time you're having a hard time reading this, which I understand it is very difficult, you can actually zoom in and then you can, excuse me, but then you can move around so that you can see the different pieces a little closer up. This says legend and key. This is your scale. The date and author would go there. Your title will go here. And then you'll understand after reading the instructions kind of what you need to do for each different box. Here's where your compass goes. I'm going to give you a few examples. So In step 7, I would also suggest doing the steps in order, but in step 7, it says label the major cities around the world on top of the orange line. So going here, this is your orange line. If it's just a if it's just a line, that's what it's talking about. Los Angeles is one of the cities. And so that's where I would label it. And I know where it is based off of, my own personal knowledge coming into this. You may not. So here is how you might locate it. I would probably go to the political map. And as you can see, it is you can zoom in on this. And I know that Los Angeles is right here. Next, I think off of this one, I'm going to want to label, which one? So based off of this, I'm going to label another city in orange, and I'm going to go with Calcutta. Oops, that is my physical map. That probably won't have it. My political map probably will. And knowing where I need to look, since I know Calcutta is in India, and I'm going to go with it being right about here. And so then what I'm going to do now is this is how I label it. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click the T for text box. And then I'm going to click and drag and just make an imaginary box. And then I'm going to change the font so that it's much smaller. Now, if you guys look though, that's not necessarily the best place to put it. So I'm going to actually click and drag it up a little bit. And then I'm going to click out of that so the imaginary border disappears. And then if I want to see how it looks in the big picture, then I can go back up to my zoom button, my magnifying glass, and I can click this. And then if I look, I can see that that's where I just labeled it. So this tutorial is a run through of instructions, where you're going to label certain things, but then also how to effectively label them. The zooming in as well as the text boxes are going to be your most important tools aside from the sources. The sources are how you are going to find where the things are off of this checklist. But then I can't stress enough the need for you to use your magnifying glass. Excuse me. To use your magnifying glass as well as the text boxes. Pay attention to the color. For something like your mountain ranges, I'm going to go ahead and give you that one as well. Something like your mountain ranges, the Himalayas. Actually, I'm not going to give you that one. I'm going to give you this one. I know for a fact, based off of this source right here, this one's a little bit more difficult to read. So I'm going to actually use this source right here. And I can see the Rocky Mountains are here. So I'm going to go to my map. I'm going to write in Rocky Mountains. And then I am also going to go back first. And I'm going to change the font to something smaller so that it fits within the box. And then I cannot read that, so I'm going to actually zoom in. I'm going to go find what I just wrote. Perfect. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. And then check this out. This is kind of cool. You can choose to do this, or you can leave it as long as your teacher is able to read it. How you choose to write it is fine, but do you see how I did that there? If you have any questions, it might be best to see your teacher during a Google Meet time. You can email them to set up a personal appointment, or if the teacher is having office hours, you can do it that way. Or you can just simply email so that you can get the instructions back in writing. It kind of depends on the type of learner that you are. I can say for Mr. Giroux, He's best at viewing it like this right here. Some of you might be better at reading it and making sense of it. So let's get started with this and have fun with it. There is a lot, so make sure that you use all of the time that you were given in class, whether it be in class or online. Please make sure that you guys are using all of your time because this is a lot, as you can see. With this tutorial alone, we spent a lot of time and we only got about 3 labels, and that was also because I already knew where they were. So don't underestimate. I would suggest doing one step at a time. You don't have to necessarily do the steps in order, but I would suggest doing one step at a time. So that way you can cross it off if you'd like. See how I did that? This part right here, I would also like you to turn in because this is where you will find your grade and where you will get your comments. You will also need to turn this in when you are finished. I think that's everything. Have fun.